This is the mini band exercise called wide stance, alternating lift and tap. And I put the band around my toes. I stretch the band as tightly as I can. And so I'm in a nice balanced position. All I do here now is to shift my weight, lift that toe, and tap it down. And we want to keep the band stretched as wide as possible to get the maximum amount of range and work from this movement. This is alternating lift and tap. With the band around my toes, I'm going to cross one foot over, balance now on my left foot. I want to drive my right heel up, keeping the foot over there. And what we're working on is the inside of the thigh here. And we will add to this by right leg, left arm, overhead reach. So we're tensioning the chain. This is balanced, cross-footed, high knee lift with the opposed arm reach. This is a low position, one leg balanced movement in which I've got the band around my left ankle. That's going to be my balance leg, my balance foot. It's around my right toe. I'm going to go down as low as I can be, and I want to stay in this position now and then balance and extend that leg back and push and try to maintain a nice, stable, balanced, low position on the balanced foot. This movement is just skipping in place with the band as wide as you can keep it and bringing your knees up, and we want to also emphasize the use of the arms. So it's a skip in place with a high, tall knee lift. In place, wide leg, skip. The band's around the toes. Using a medicine ball, I'm going to take a parallel stance. I want to flex my knees a little bit. This is simply a rotational movement, loosens up the spine. The key is that I want to watch the ball. Rather than make this an arm exercise, I want the core to get involved, and I do that by watching the ball. And most critically, to protect your back, your heels have to release from side to side. And that's true whether we're doing this with a medicine ball or a dumbbell or anything. So this is a medicine ball alternating side to side twist. This is a med ball arc, and the arc is I'm going to go from way down behind my right knee and behind there, straight up over the top, right over the shoulder seams to the other knee. Here again, you want to let the offside heel go, and you can increase your pace and even add balance from side to side if you like. This is the arc. This is a non-alternating movement. It's a diagonal chop down and a diagonal lift up. And because it's a rotational movement, you want to make sure that your heels release. And a nice little finishing rubric is to bring your bicep to your nose. So bring that arm right up to your nose and reach high and extend. We do all the reps on one side and then repeat on the other side. Now we're going to use the wall, and I'm going to face in. This is an in-facing, forward-facing, alternating side to side. Again, I want my heels to release. I want to throw the ball in a way that it'll come to me where I can catch it and use it. Obviously, the flatter the wall you throw it against, the better this is. Throw it hard, turn your head, and move your feet. The basic squat, parallel stance, squat to toe raise. I like to include a touch on the floor because that means that we're going to get down low here. Come up tall, finish tall. And to do this with the toe raise at the end, this should take about 1 rep per second when you get moving. Here is an alternating forward lunge with a twist. The lunge that we do does not include a back knee bend. It's a straight, strong leg and a strong connection as you reach across. Step all the way back to standing. Step out, balance, twist, and reach to the floor. Now this is a 12-inch step, and you will adjust the size of the step based on where you are in your training program. I'm going to do an alternating forward step up, and what I want to do here is put my full foot on the box, jump up as high as I can, change feet in the air, and barely touch ground here. I don't want a lot of weight on the back foot. So we're here, and alternating forward step up. A basic jump squat with a floor touch to emphasize that we want to squat to touch the floor rather than bend to touch the floor. Jump up and land as softly as you can manage. So, touch, jump, and listen to your feet. You don't want to hear that. Here's a simple chest pass bounce with the medicine ball off the wall. We want to use the legs, we want to balance, we want to use the arms to decelerate the ball. We want to get a rhythm and then pick up the tempo and pace. Chest pass. Here we're going to do a simple sort of squat, pike, and layout with straight arms. This is a distal load. This puts a lot of stress on elbows and shoulders, so to make this easier, you just bring the handles in closer to you. But what I want to do here is do a full squat, arms are extending, and then use those arms to lift myself back up to full standing. So there's a squat and a downward force, almost like double poles. I'm using a dumbbell here. This is light. It's a 10-pound dumbbell, but you could use a medicine ball or something else. I'm going to do a descending lazy 8. Descending meaning that when I swing down, it's going to be down across my chest and make this figure 8 shape. And so, again, because I'm rotating, I want to be active on my feet, and I want my heels to release, and I want my head to turn with my hands. This is descending lazy 8s. Now I'm going to do a push-up. I'm going to use the ball as the thing I'm pushing on. I want to put it on the wall, and the tendency is to bring the ball up here to the chest, but we want it down here by the waist. And you step back, and now your hands are positioned, and you bring your forehead toward the wall and push away. Now you're creating a proximal and strong connection from your fingertips to your toes, especially at the shoulders, because your arms are in and strong. This is med ball wall push-up. I will do the lazy 8 again, but this time rather than descending across the chest, I'm going to swing up. Again, move your feet, turn your head, drop it along the sides, and then swing up and drive with your hips. This one you can really feel the connection of the core to the feet and the core to the hands. Ascending lazy 8s. Now in a supine position with the band around my toes, when we're supine, obviously we're taking the balance aspect out of it, so you can really work the strength component. What I want to do here is create a strong connection from this side to this side, and I do that by lifting this knee, pressing down with this hand, and reaching as high overhead as I can with this arm, and then I go back. Remember to bring your toes up so that the band stays anchored, and reach and pull that knee up, reach as high as you can. Take your time, maximal high knee. Now with the band around my toes, I want to work the inside of the thigh again. I'm going to cross that foot over. We did this balance. Now we're going to do it supine. And I'm going to add the overhead reach. And I'm alternating that and not alternating the toes. So I'm going to reach and pull that heel up to the side of the knee. Repeat that. And all I'm changing is the reaching arm is going to alternate with that movement. This is supine, non-alternating, cross-footed high knee lift with opposed and alternating reach. Here I'm supine and I have the band around my toes. I'm just going to let my head lie back, keep my feet as wide as I can, and alternatingly push as though I'm trying to push a pedal. We call these pedal pushers. And I want you to imagine that you're trying to push around a pillar or a trash pail or something. You want your feet to stay as wide as they can be while you're pushing and pulling simultaneously. This is a side position lengthening movement. What I want to do is lengthen the base leg. In this case, it's my left. I want to take my right leg and bend it, grab the toe, bring the knee back down so that they're parallel, the two legs. And the first thing I want to do is gently pull that heel towards my butt. It doesn't matter if you get there or not. The movement, the real active movement to begin with, is to lengthen this leg as though you're trying to touch your ankle with that knee. You won't get there, but we want you to feel that length along the front side. And if you get comfortable there, extending and staying, then you can also sort of extend that knee backward a little bit and then ease off. And you will feel a nice long stretch that happens in the fascia along the front side of the hips. And here from a supine position, a really nice one for hips. Keep the shoulders down as your anchor points. Point your heels rather than your toes on this, so you start to feel all kinds of stuff lengthening in the fascia behind your knee. And what I'm going to do is roll my hips over, keeping that shoulder down, pointing the heels, extending both legs, and then swinging up gently towards my arm. And then I go the other way. Bring that hip all the way over. Keep your knees from bending. You have to pay attention to what that leg is doing because it's going to want to bend at the knee, and so is the one on the ground. This is supine hip rolls, pointing your heels. Keep your shoulders down. Now here's a great stretch for upper shoulders and lower neck. It's especially effective if you've been using your computer all day or double polling, because this is where stress tends to sit. I'm going to sit, pull my right foot up to about 90-degree angle at the knee, reach my right arm down along the inside, and keeping that knee pretty much straight up and down rather than letting it come out. I'm in this position. This is my anchor hand. What I want to do now is simultaneously push my heel away, this heel, and I've got the ball there to show you that when I do this movement, that ball should move. And I want to grab here, lift my shoulder, and pull back. So the movement is that. This is a seated one-hand grab and lean away. This is a prone position, straight leg hip roll. Again, the emphasis is on lengthening the kinetic chain always. So even the leg that isn't actually doing the swing is got to be lengthening and getting longer, and you want to feel that. So I'm pointing my toes, I'm going to roll my hip over, and then really extend that leg as far back as I can, like I'm trying to touch the far wall. And then I'm going to go the other way. Take your time, really extend, feel both legs lengthening as you do this. You'll get a very, very pleasant stretch. Supine position again. This is a figure 4, and we can do it a couple of ways. If you really are tight in the hips and you don't have good external rotation here, this is a good movement to try, but you might want to do it just by crossing your foot onto your knee. And if that's even too intense for you, you can bring this shin bone a little bit along your femur here. But I want to go here. I want to let my head rest back and gently push to externally rotate this femur at the hip. And if that feels good, and I think it will for a lot of you, then you can progress to straightening the leg, pushing on the knee, and pulling on this leg. So you're bracing here and pulling everything toward you, and you can pull and release and pull and release. And just do this until you feel that fascia along the side expanding. This is a double bent knee extend. It's a nice one for your hips. I'm crossing the bottom side over the top. And I'm using the med ball here because the action is subtle, but what I want to do is I want to push that ball away. I want to extend that knee and push that knee down simultaneously. So the action is this knee lengthening, this leg forcing that knee toward the floor, and the shoulders stay down. So everything along here gets expanded. Supine now. I'm going to lengthen my right leg, lengthen my left arm, and then bring my left knee up to about 90 degrees and reach to the outside. And now gently, carefully, slowly, I'm going to roll on that hip while I reach, while I extend, and bring that knee as comfortably and as closely to the floor as I can. And I might want to stay there for a second and re-emphasize the extension of this arm and this leg to really feel that stretch. And then I'll come back to the center, change sides, and repeat the movement the other way. This is an up, back, and over sort of movement. And when you get towards the end, you're going to feel the stresses on your cervical spine, on your neck. And so you have to be careful. Go slowly and only go so far as you feel comfortable. And then when you finish, you roll back up, legs are straight. And when you get to this position, just push your hips straight up to reset. Don't let your back round over like this because that's not going to do any good for you. Back here, extend, and then all the way back up, push up. You'll do this for about 6 to 10 repetitions. This is called crow, and what it is it starts in a deep squat position. Your elbows are inside of your knees, and you put your hands out front and gradually place your hands on the floor and bring your knees and weight forward while letting your elbows bend out. And what they do then is they give sore and tired adductors and groins a very nice stretch. You bring your weight forward, you can ease off, and once you're there, you can just wiggle your hips from side to side, wiggle forward and backward. Make it feel like you want it to feel. Make it feel good. And when you finish, rock yourself back, stand tall, feel good.